everyone, to Black Man Speak. I'm your host, J.R. Stewart, and you will notice that my partner in crime, Tommy Duncan III, is not here tonight. He had a business trip and was not able to make it into the studio to do the broadcast, but that's okay. We're going to go on without him. He will be missed, but not forgotten. So as you can see that we have added a new element. We have Google Meet that we are experimenting with, and the URL, if you're interested in joining, is on our intro. So if you go to our Black Men Speak page, look at the intro or description, there is a URL that will be there. And for those who want to call, the phone number is listed below, 774-360-8394, and the PIN is 781-301-243#. You can call that number, enter the PIN, and you will be added to the show. So we're here every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. One is Ira Aldridge. He is an American actor, really became famous for his craft in England, performing mostly Shakespeare plays. He was born in New York, and at some point, I think in his early 20s, he moved to England to pursue his acting career. Now, he tried to make it in New York, but it didn't quite work out. The company that he was with, I think they built a theater of their own, but the other larger theaters, more well established. In fact, this theater was the first black theater that was owned and managed by black people, but it didn't survive. The larger theaters sort of put pressure on it and eventually went out of business. So rather than give up or change careers, Ira Aldridge decided to pursue his dream, just pursue it someplace else. He pursued it in England and in Ireland and parts of Europe that he toured. And I even think he even performed in Russia for the Crown Prince. So he became a well-established, a well-known actor during his time, and actually was even recognized as being one of the best at what he did. Often played the role of Othello, Shakespeare play, King Lear, and some other major parts, starring roles. I mean, not just side roles, major roles in these plays. And he became extremely well known throughout Europe during his time. Now, I read that he had hoped to come back to America, that he was planning on coming back to America. Unfortunately, he died before that happened. And so now the big question is, well, why is Ira Aldridge on the list? Well, he's on the list, for a reason. He exemplifies what you have to do to reach your goal sometimes. Sometimes things don't always work out in the way that you want them to work out. Now, I'm sure that if he had his choice, he would have liked to have stayed in New York with his friends and family and became a famous actor of his time in New York, in America. But that didn't quite work out. And rather than, feel sorry for himself, he basically had to reassess and look for opportunities elsewhere. And it worked out really great for him. He was really well received in England and in Europe. Now, this was he was born during slavery time. He was born a free black person in New York, but still he was born during slavery time. But he was very well received in Europe, and recognized. Like I said, he's been one of the best at what he did. Now, they call them interpreters, back then, but really we call them actors today, stage actors. So he was recognized one of the best at what he did. So if you want to pursue your dream, want to be recognized as one of the best at what you do, you have to be willing to make adjustments in life. Success is not always going to come to you in a nice, neatly wrapped package. Sometimes you're going to have to get your hands dirty. Sometimes you're going to have to take chances. You're going to have to go where the opportunity best presents itself, and that's not always going to be home, or the comfort of your home, or in the comfort of your friends and family. And I'm saying this because many times I hear, people say it's not working out someplace. But what I don't hear them say is, maybe, just maybe, it's time to pack up and go. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to pack up and go. Sometimes you have to go where opportunities are matched with your talents. If you live in an area where they no longer make buggies, well, you can be the world's best buggy maker. But if you're not someplace where there's a market for your skills and for your talent, then you may have to go someplace where there is a market for your skills and for your talent. And so let me see. We added some new books to the list. Actually, they're not on the show they're not on the show board here, and I'll get that updated. Make sure next week. I know we have at least 3, maybe 4 new books that we were going to add this week. So we'll get that added next week. And also, speaking of next week, we are going to be doing Little Richard next week. We're actually going to do it this week, but we got our signals crossed, and I was thinking Ira Aldridge, and Tommy was thinking Little Richard. So we're doing Ira Aldridge this week, and we'll do Little Richard next week. So I think that'll be an interesting, fun show. Little Richard is probably easily a pioneer of rock and roll. I mean, he helped shape that whole music genre, and certainly should be recognized as one of the greats, if not definitely the greatest of his musical style. So that will be next week. We should get Tommy back next week. We will continue the Google Meet session for those who want to join. I know it's new, so for those who want to join the show, and if you have any questions about Little Richard or a comment about Little Richard, maybe you knew Little Richard, maybe you met him, you see him in concert, maybe you have all his music, or maybe you just like the music. Anyway, come join us next week, next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, so normally I would have Tommy here to bounce questions off of and basically give his opinion or 2 cents on what he thinks about various topics or various people. But since he's not here today, it's just me, which is fine. I mean, I can talk for hours. But one of the things I want to actually divert, kind of break away from Ira and talk about a little bit is maybe a little sports. Those of you who know or don't know, I live in the Dallas area. Both Tommy and I do, in the suburb cities of McKinney, and I believe Tommy lives down in Duncanville or DeSoto, one of those suburb cities. But anyway, the Dallas Cowboys are our football team. And for those of you who are not following, we have a little bit of an issue. We have a quarterback who is demanding $45 million. $45 million. Now, I like Dak Prescott. I don't have anything against him. I don't know him personally, other than he's a quarterback, and I've been cheering for his success for 4 years. And I know that the Cowboys initially offered him 8 years, $200 million, $25 million a year last year during the season. But he opted to wait till the end of the season, thinking he would get more money, that the new TV deal would be signed and salary cap would go up and there would just be more money. Well, at the time, I thought 25 million was still a little high for Dak Prescott. And the reason being is he has a good touch on the long ball. What he doesn't have is a good touch on the short pass, especially the go pattern. The quick slants, balls are selling high, balls are selling at too low. You're going to bend down and reach down to your shoelaces trying to catch balls, or the balls are behind you. Your receivers are having to contort their bodies and twist in midair to catch some of these passes. And as soon as he throw a couple of them, and where one of them may come close to being picked off, the offensive coordinator just stops calling go routes. Now, no receiver in the NFL wants to. Of course, you have to run the route and the play that's called. But if given a choice between a go route and a stop route, they much rather run go routes, either short, quick slants, a long, skinny post patterns. But anyway, they much rather have a chance to achieve yards after the catch, as opposed to catching the ball and then having to take off from a dead stop and start trying to run and make yards after the catch. And for somebody who can't throw that route, there's so many third downs that we don't convert because the long go routes are not available on third and long. The short go routes are. And if you can't throw that, there are going to be a lot of times you can't move the chains. And that was the Dallas Cowboys last year. A lot of times we couldn't move the chain because our quarterback could not deliver the slant pattern, the go pass. And so we punt the ball to the other team. We end up finding ourselves, 24-3, 28-3, 30-3 in the hole at halftime, which means coming to the second half, we can't run the ball anymore. And teams will gladly give you 7 and 8 yards. They'll give you the underneath stuff, let you eat up the clock, knowing that you're not going to be able to come back and win this game at 7 yards a pop. It's going to be very difficult, especially when you get into the red zone and things really tighten up. You may spend 7 to 8 minutes to score. And if you come away with a field goal rather than a touchdown, then you just really dug yourself deeper into a hole. So last year during the season, I heard rumors. There was talk that Dak Prescott wanted $40 million a year. And of course, whenever I repeated the story, people laughed. Like, that's just talk. There's no way he's asking for $40 million a year. But secretly he was. Him and his agent was asking for that kind of money. Then the Cowboys came along and upped it to 28, then 30. Then, they threw the franchise tag out, which is 31. And then they even came back and offered him 35. $175 million over 5 years. Which would make him the highest paid quarterback today. 2-3 years from now, probably not. But he wants to be the highest paid quarterback, period, while he's playing. Not just this year, not just next year, but in year 4 and 5. He still wants to be the highest paid quarterback or the highest paid football player. And this is a person who has not won, I think he's won maybe 1 playoff game, maybe 2. But he hadn't won a Super Bowl. He hadn't won an NFC championship game. Okay, he has a couple of division titles in a very weak NFC East. He's beat up on some NFC East teams, but against playoff teams, I believe he is 2-13. Some crazy record against playoff teams. Against non-playoff teams, he holds his own. He's pretty good against non-playoff teams. He has a winning record against them. But for a person who hasn't accomplished very much, he did win Rookie of the Year. But Rookie of the Year does not warrant $45 million a year. And 2 playoff games in 4 years does not warrant $45 million a year. Dak Prescott, if you listen to me, take the offer that's on the table. $175 million, negotiate the last year, the option year, negotiate the guarantee, and get on with life. And if you really think that you're the best quarterback in football, you're deceiving yourself. Your agent may be telling you that, but he's lying to you. If you were the best quarterback in football, trust me, at this point, the Cowboys would have packaged you up and traded you. They would have given you to someone who could afford to give us 2 first-round draft picks for you. That's what a real and elite football player warrants these days. No team in the NFL will give us 2 first-round draft picks for Dak Prescott. That should let you know what your value is. When the top 100 players list came out last year, this list was voted on by players. Dak, you didn't even make the top 100. There were 3 other players who made that list that were teammates of yours. As a quarterback, you should have easily made the top 100 list. Out of 30 teams, you're not one of the top 100 players according to your colleagues? No, they know what kind of quarterback you are. GMs around the league know what kind of quarterback you are. You are a journeyman quarterback at best. After 4 years, you've gotten a little better, but you still haven't gotten, you're not good enough where the Cowboys can put everything on your arm and win games. When Zeke is shut out of the game, you are shut out of the game. You just haven't been able to keep us in games and win games with just you. So, once again, I made that detour. I digress. But I made it for a reason. Also, this points out that you need to understand your worth. If you think that you are a $200,000 engineer, but the market out there says that you're a $100,000 engineer, you really may have to come to grips with reality and accept that maybe, just maybe, you are a $100,000 engineer. And then maybe you can grow into a $200,000 a year engineer, but if nobody's willing to pay you that, then you're just not worth it at this point. If the Cowboys are not willing to pay you $45 million a year, and there's no other teams out there willing to pay you $45 million a year and give up 2 draft picks for you, then maybe, just maybe, you should consider that you're overpricing yourself. And so, since we are about success here and giving useful advice for success, that's my 2-cent advice for Dak. But in the broader, bigger picture, be willing to go wherever you have to go in order to advance your talents and your skills. But then also, when you get there, understand what your worth is, work very hard to build your skills and your talents. And then as you do that, reward will come to you. That I promise. So let me see how much time we have left. I'm actually going to end the show a little early, about 10 minutes early today, since I don't have Tommy here to help fill up the rest of the minutes. Please subscribe, spread the word, share, and hit the like button to help us out. We're trying to grow our base. We're going to be here every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Time, so please join us. We have our Google Meet channel up now, so go to the link and click on it, or dial the phone number, enter the PIN, and join the conversation. Next week we'll be talking about Little Richard, so please come join us. And with that said, I am out. So I wish everyone a healthy week. Stay healthy, stay away from the coronavirus. And if you do have it, I wish you well with your recovery. And then I also, for those who are less fortunate, who are struggling right now, I wish that you would get back to work and get back with your life as soon as possible. I certainly don't want to rush our recovery and then infect more people. But if we can safely open the country back up and keep the spread of the coronavirus to a minimum, that will be the ideal. I'm going to say ideal, but no, ideal situation. So I'm your host, J.R. Stewart, and until next week, see you later.